It was a cold afternoon in late October when Daniel Turner found himself standing outside a bustling and very warm-looking coffee shop, clutching the tiny hands of his two daughters as if they were his only anchor in the entire world. And in truth, they were. His simple flannel shirt sleeves were rolled up, not because the weather called for it, because he couldn't seem to shake the heavy, a physical weight of an exhaustion that had settled deep into his bones after the long 12-hour shift he had just finished at the local construction site. The wind bit at his skin, but Daniel hardly noticed. His mind was completely and utterly consumed with the never-ending and very overwhelming list of the bills he could not pay, the groceries he still somehow needed to buy, and the gnawing and very painful question of how he could possibly, on his own, give his two beautiful girls the kind of life that they so richly deserved and so completely deserved. His eldest, Sophie, was 7, a small and very serious little girl with wise, soft hazel eyes that had already learned how to mask a deep and very real worry. Her younger sister, Lily, was 5, a bright, beautiful bundle of a pure, unadulterated joy who could, with a single musical laugh, make the entire world seem a little brighter. Though lately, even her happy, childish giggles had grown a little quieter, a little more rare. That afternoon, a single, unexpected moment, a moment that would change all of their lives forever, was about to happen. And it would begin with a stranger's impossible and very beautiful voice. Before I continue this incredible story, if you believe in the profound power of kindness, in the magic of second chances, and in the idea of unexpected miracles, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. My Truth Story. Your support helps to bring more of these inspiring and very heartwarming stories to the people who need a little bit of hope the most. Daniel had no idea that the woman was sitting just a few feet away. On the other side of the thick plate glass window, a woman who was dressed in a royal blue tailored blazer and a skirt that seemed to be as crisp and as perfect as the autumn air was about to shatter the fragile and very brittle stillness of his world. She was the kind of a person who seemed to be completely and utterly untouched by any of life's harsher and more difficult edges. Her posture spoke of a quiet and very real confidence. Her simple and very elegant jewelry glinted in the muted afternoon light. And even the way that she carried her expensive leather purse suggested a life of a deep and very comfortable ease. Her name was Cassandra Whitmore, though Daniel wouldn't learn that until much later. To him, in that one single, solitary moment, she was just another stranger, another beautiful and very distant person, passing through the frayed and very worn-out edges of his own. It's a very difficult reality, until Sophie, his wise and very observant 7-year-old, let go of his hand, took a single, small, and very brave step forward and said, in a voice that was as clear, good as innocent as a small silver bell, "You should say yes to her request, Daddy." Daniel blinked, startled, his own tired mind struggling to process what had just happened. He hadn't heard a request, hadn't seen any indication that one was even coming. But Cassandra, as if on cue, had now stood up and was stepping out of the coffee shop, her own beautiful eyes shimmering with an emotion that he couldn't quite read. Was it pity? Was it determination? Or was it, perhaps, just a touch of a very real and very profound desperation? She explained that she had been sitting inside, sipping her latte, when she had overheard a small, very private fragment of Daniel's conversation with Sophie. A conversation about how hard things had been for them lately, about how they couldn't afford certain very simple things. Cassandra had seen the way his own strong shoulders had sagged with the immense and very invisible weight of his own very private burdens. She had seen the quiet, fierce, and very protective way he had held his two small daughters so close to him, and something, she had said, something deep inside of her had cracked. And then, without a single solitary tremor in her own very beautiful voice, she had said the words that had seemed so absurd, so completely and utterly laughable, in their sheer and very unbelievable boldness. Daniel felt the air leave his own lungs. He didn't know whether to laugh, to walk away, or to ask this beautiful, went clearly very crazy woman if she was out of her mind. In his 34 long and very difficult years on this earth, he had faced hardships that had broken other, stronger men, but he had never, not once, encountered anything quite like this. A beautiful, wealthy stranger proposing marriage to him in the middle of a public sidewalk, as if it were the most natural and most logical thing in the entire world. The girls, his two beautiful and very innocent girls, just stood there, wide-eyed, sensing that something momentous, something very adult, was happening, but not quite understanding the immense and very real weight of it all. Daniel searched Cassandra's eyes, trying with all his might to understand her angle. Was this a joke? Was it some kind of a cruel and very public prank? Or was it ... was it something else entirely? Over the next hour, as they sat together at a quiet corner table inside the warm and very safe cafe, Cassandra, with a quiet and very painful honesty, explained everything. She came from money, old money, but she had explained, reached a point in her own, very successful and very lonely life where her immense wealth no longer insulated her from the deep and very profound ache of her own isolation. She had watched all of her friends marry, start their own families, find a real and very beautiful meaning beyond the cold, hard, and very empty ledger of their business transactions. And a few months earlier, she had been diagnosed with a medical condition, a condition that could make having children of her own very, very difficult, maybe even impossible. When she had seen Daniel on that cold autumn afternoon, standing on the sidewalk with his two beautiful daughters, she had seen the way his own strong shoulders had sagged with the immense and very invisible weight of his own very private burdens. She had seen the quiet, fierce, and very protective way he had held his two small daughters so close to him. And something, she had said, something deep inside of her, had cracked. And in that one single and very impulsive moment she had seen a chance to have the one single thing that she had always and so desperately longed for. A family. For Daniel, the conversation was a whirlwind. Part of him, the proud and very stubborn part, wanted to refuse her offer immediately. Pride, a hot and very real pride, burned in his chest. He didn't want charity, especially not a charity that was so cleverly and so beautifully disguised as love. And he certainly did not want his own beloved daughters to grow up in a life that they had not chosen for themselves. But another part of him, the part that stayed awake, late into the long, dark, and very lonely nights, staring up at the cracked, water-stained ceiling of their small apartment, wondering how in God's name he was ever going to be able to give his two beautiful girls the kind of safety and the kind of stability that they so richly and so completely deserved. That part of him hesitated. Cassandra spoke of giving them a real home, a home with a yard to play in, of a financial security so profound they would never have to worry about a single solitary thing ever again, of the chance to go to the best and most exclusive schools. And she had made a quiet and very solemn promise that she would love them, his daughters, as if they were her own. And yet it wasn't her promises, her grand and very generous promises, that lingered in Daniel's mind. It was the quiet and very real sincerity in her voice. It was the way that she hadn't, not for a single solitary second, flinched when he had told her the hard and very ugly truth about his own debts, about his own failures, about his own very profound and very real doubts. He remembered his late wife, Emily, the woman he had loved since they were just two foolish kids in high school, the woman whose sudden and very brutal death in a car accident had left him completely and utterly shattered. Could he really, truly let someone else into their small and very broken little world? Could he trust that Cassandra's incredible and very impulsive offer wasn't just a fleeting, emotional whim, born of a single, lonely afternoon in a quiet, sunlit coffee shop? And most importantly, could he bear the immense and very real risk of his own very precious daughters getting attached to her, only to have it all, once again, fall apart? The turning point, when it came, was on a quiet and very ordinary evening. Sophie, his wise and very serious 7-year-old, had crawled into his lap after their simple and very meager dinner, her own small arms wrapping around his neck. And she had asked him, in her soft and very steady and very heartbreaking voice, if they were ever going to have a real home again, a home where they didn't have to move every few short months, a home where she could keep her friends, a home where her little sister Lily could have her own real bed, without them having to share in the same small and very cramped spaces. And the question, the simple and very honest and very heartbreaking question, had broken him in a way that nothing else ever could. And he realized then that love, a real and very true love, wasn't just about holding on with a fierce and very stubborn pride to the past. Sometimes it was about giving your own very broken heart the permission to find new and very different ways to beat. When Daniel finally met with Cassandra again, his answer was not what she had expected. He told her that he would not marry her, not right away, but he would, with a great and very real leap of faith, let her into their lives, not as a rescuer, not as a benefactor, but as someone, a friend, who was willing to earn their trust. If she could show his daughters that her love for them was real, that her commitment was not just born out of a single lonely afternoon, then maybe, just maybe, they could, together, build something real and something lasting. Cassandra's own beautiful eyes had welled with tears. For the very first time, Daniel had seen not the powerful and very wealthy millionaire, not the beautiful woman in the designer clothes, but a simple and very human being who was willing to wait for love on someone else's terms. Over the months that followed, Cassandra became a part of their lives in ways that Daniel could never have predicted. She showed up. She showed up to the school recitals. She helped with the homework. She even, with a surprising and very endearing lack of a skill, learned how to make Lily's favorite and very specific peanut butter cookies after burning the first 3 batches. She never pushed, she never rushed. She simply ... loved. In the quiet, consistent, and very patient way that mattered the most. And one day, a full year later, Daniel found himself standing in the very same spot. Outside that very same coffee shop, his 2 beautiful daughters on either side of him, and Cassandra, his Cassandra, standing in front of him. And this time, it was his turn to speak the life-changing words. "Marry me," he had said. "Marry me. And let's raise them together." If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs a little bit of hope, and subscribe to our channel, My Truth Story. And please, leave a comment below to let us know how this story made you feel. Your engagement helps us to share more of these true and very inspiring stories with the entire world. And as a special request, before you scroll away, take a moment to comment what part of this incredible story moved you the most. We read every single one. Thank you for watching.